So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. I'm rolling solo today. I'm Jason Artley, and we're here to talk about a whole bunch of different things. Normally, I'm here joined with Michael Chave, but he's off doing some fun things with Bluebeam himself. So looking forward to some text messages later with some, uh, you know, top tips and things. As a Bluebeam Sapphire partner, we are invited to go to an annual forum or a quarterly forum or something like that where we can go with other channel partners and Bluebeam and learn about what's coming up. How can they be more supportive? How can we be more supportive and go from there? So he is there with Jolie Allen in Nashville going through that session, and he will be rolling solo next week. So maybe he'll get you caught up on things that he can or cannot share. All right, first, I'm gonna have to, sorry guys, kick out these AI people. Whoa, no. AI is everywhere, including meetings. All right, so a few things that I want to share about today. I'm gonna share my screen. Boom, boom. So we're talking in the chat before we got started. Who's ready for Bluebeam Unbound? We've talked about this a lot over the past few months, getting excited for Bluebeam Unbound coming up at the end of September in Washington, D.C. Now, a couple things about this, things that I found, things that I want to share, things that we're going to work through today. And actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Today's session was supposed to be all about the org admin changes. We've been talking about them for a while. The changes were supposed to happen on July 25th to 27th. I just got an email this morning saying that they've pushed that back until August 25th. So both on the partner side and on the org admin side, you're probably not going to see any changes until next week or so. But that's okay. Also, the limited admin role will be going away. So if you've had anybody set to limited admin, which is a fairly rare use case, there's going to be a couple changes there, but we'll find out next week. So I'm going to punt that topic until we have access. It makes no sense to just show you the what if, but we'll go from there. But today I wanted to talk about a little bit more about Unbound. I want to talk about Bluebeam Community, and I want to talk about detail management. So first off, giving credit where credit is due. I was on the Bluebeam Unbound thing today, looking at the different classes and looking at what's available. There's some really amazing sessions that I'm excited to attend and see what we've got going on. They're in the session library, amazing courses, some of them taught by some folks who are listening right now, but others involved with Bluebeam, involved with Nemetschek. It's going to be a really, really difficult time to pick what you want. Who's from SEH teaching? There we go. Cool. So one thing I wanted to share, and I was talking about giving credit where credit is due. In the 2025 speakers list, our keynote speakers, just Steve Wozniak and Usman and Mr. Nemetschek himself. And then we've got CEO, and our own Liz Larson, right before the CEO of Nemetschek. So congrats to Liz. You made it. This means you're officially big time now, as if you weren't already. But you're in quite the company there, and that made my morning to see you up there. So hopefully that's not too much pressure for you. Get your slides done. All right. So there's some good stuff on the chat that I'm trying to keep up with. So good stuff indeed. So one thing that I want to talk about aside from Unbound, well, kind of related to Unbound, is on the community page. So if you're not spending time on Bluebeam Community, you're missing out. You use your same Bluebeam ID that you log into the software with. If you haven't joined before, I'm not going to give you the exact link, but there are tricks where you can go even find a gift card nestled up here in the community. But what I found yesterday that I wanted to share with everybody is in relationship to Unbound. So while there are a ton of different topics and questions and how you can help out the community and share your workflows here on the community page, there's also a part, hey, there's Doug, for our Bluebeam user groups. If you're not a part of a Bluebeam user group, they're worth attending, worth viewing. There are some for United States, Canada, Australia, Middle East, Europe. They all have their own Bluebeam user group. However, this little nugget that I found here in North America is that if you are in the DMV area, so the DMV area, I had to look this up, and thankfully they posted the thing, the Washington, D.C. metro area. So D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Alexandria, Frederick, other D.C. suburbs. If you live in those areas and you are interested in going to Bluebeam Unbound, you can get in free. So you have to message Angela via the community to get a unique discount code. But if you know anybody, if they know Bluebeam or not, this is a great way to upskill, learn some new tricks, network with your local community. It would be a great opportunity for folks to attend because it's going to be quite the event. But while I was on the bug, I noticed something that I hadn't noticed before, and I'll see if I can find it again. There are, where we go? Maybe it was under North America. There are resources, the meeting resources, and I didn't know this until today. You can actually, of course, I'm going to click on the wrong thing. There we go. All of the previous quarterly meetings or monthly meetings for this year, the recordings are right here. So you can go review, no pun intended, any of those previous meetings, and there's some amazing content in here. Doug, I saw you were in here on one of them. There's a few different ones where you all have been a part of these meetings. But if you want to get more involved with the bug or want to maybe start one in your own community, this is a good place to start. So there's stuff in here for Spokane and Canada. Watch these old videos, and there's even some from last year, Northern California, Phoenix. Just more good content to strengthen your portfolio. And yes, we're going to talk about Pyros, Liz. I'm curious to know your thoughts. But yeah, ATG, we cannot start our own bug, but we would love to sponsor a bug. So especially if you're in the Phoenix area or Little Rock area, or anywhere else, let us know and we'll see what we can do to come together and have a good event that's not just a remote fest. And of course, Lee, you can always ask a loaded question. I'm going to try to move my chat over a little closer so I'm not just split screening everywhere. All right. So as always, it's a little harder when I'm rolling solo, but as always, if you've got any questions about anything, go ahead and fire away and I'll try to answer them. And if I can't answer them, the good old folks in the community chat will help me out here. But I wanted to talk about details. So community, Unbound, the free thing. I think I've covered most of it. Liz is now the CEO of everybody, so I'll have to tell Stuart. But I wanted to talk about detail management in Pyros, and Liz says that she started using them. So I'm really curious, and I'm really hoping I don't. I'm sure you are on a first name basis with Usman. Oh, that's a fine question, Doug. How do we pull off the chat during live MCR? I mean, everybody's just gonna be sitting on their phones anyway, right? I don't want to share the entire details of our presentation at MCR because it's going to be pretty unique, unlike anything I've ever seen before. So let alone attended. So that'll be fun. But jumping over to Pyros. So where this got me started, Here at ATG, we do a lot of different things. We are doing hardware, software, services. We do a whole bunch of things for the AEC industry. And details are a big part of that. And sometimes we'll have a member of our sales team reach out and say, "Hey, what's everybody using for details? Or what does this mean?" I've got a customer who's looking at Pyros. You know, what can it do? And to be honest with you, I have not heard about this until yesterday. Never seen this before, but I thought it was interesting because this is becoming a I don't know what the right word would be. It's becoming one of those things where firms are actually starting to realize that they are pretty disorganized. And maybe that detail, maybe we did that, 2 weeks ago on this other project, or maybe we did that last year when we did this other project. Where is it? And do I have to redraw it? Detail management has always been a struggle for most firms, unless you're doing bread and butter, cookie cutter type of work. So Pyros appears to have a Revit integration where you can take your Revit details, put them in a repository, and have anybody access them later on. So pretty cool idea. However, there are competitors to this solution, and this was originally what I came up with. Autodesk came up with the Autodesk Content Catalog. It's a cloud-based ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud supported function that allows you to store whatever content. So blocks, details, families, templates, AutoCAD, Revit, Civil 3D, it doesn't really matter. But additionally in there, you can have details. Now, does it have the pure integration for Revit? I can't really say. But the management part is something that's tricky. And then I noticed on here, let's see if I can find it. Where was it? For drafters, here we go. Add your details to a cart, export to PDF, and then start marking up in Bluebeam, and then send the details to your drafter with one click. And then this part got me thinking, well, why not just do all of this in Bluebeam? So if you're doing Bluebeam PDFs for details, which you can do, how can we organize that? And that's where I was going to jump into review and share a couple things there. So before I do that, I'm going to get caught up on the chat. Oh, that is a fine, some fine questions. All right. Do CAD managers still exist? Oh, that's a touchy subject, my friend. But Liz is saying Pyros is the only software I've seen that does more than you think. Every question they have a real answer. No, oh, that's coming. No, we haven't heard that question yet. None of that. They've seen it and they have an answer for you. That's really impressive. I wish more software companies were that transparent. And Liz says, why not just do it in Bluebeam to begin with? Because Pyros does extra. But I mean, there's lots of extra. But what if you don't need extra? What if you're not a Revit user? Is there an AutoCAD tie into this, or is it only Revit? Only Revit. Okay. So if you're not a Revit user, now that's a whole, you've heard me over the years poke my jabs at Revit, but I will tell you, you'd be surprised. Me being a civil guy, I'm having more and more civil conversations each week that end up saying the Revit word, where civil firms are starting to look at what does Revit mean for, underground utilities and better coordination and topo solids and all those other things. So pretty wild stuff. But let's see what our options are in Bluebeam, since that's what we've got. Now, I'm curious to know more about Pyros. Liz, maybe once you get it all set up and rocking, we'll have you pop on and show what you got. But I started thinking about this with details the other day, and how details can be leveraged better in review, and how do we share that content? Because you've got Autodesk Content Catalog, you've got Pyros, you've got tool palettes, you've got that random folder on your server network called details, and you have to dig through there and find things. What's the best way to organize them, and what sort of strategies can we employ inside of Revu to do that same type of work? And I started looking at my example little project here and was thinking that maybe this would be a good opportunity to play with it a bit, right? So let's do some experimentation. So one thing that I would try to do would be create a tool chest for certain types of details. So I'm going to go up to Manage Tool Sets. I'm going to add one. We're going to add a new one, and we're going to call this Plumbing Fixture Details. I'm not going to show it in all profiles. I probably should have changed my profile first, but I think I will do that. And then we'll hit OK. I'm going to save that to my location, and we'll hit OK here. So now I will go and manage my things. Where'd the little up and down button go? Now it's just a drag. Interesting. Okay, so now I have a tool set for plumbing fixture details, and I'm going to start creating some of those. Now, with most details, they are either not to scale or they are to scale. For the sake of this, I'm going to set my drawing scale at 1/8 inch equals a foot, because I want to just start doing some snapshots. And since some of these are to scale, I want them to come over. Now, one thing that I would probably want to do is, if I were going to reuse this detail, for example, on another sheet, these page numbers and detail numbers are no longer going to apply. So what I might want to do in that case is erase that content to leave it blank for someone else. So I'm going to just kind of come through here. I'm going to erase those. This would potentially be a good spot to put a form field, so that you can easily fill that out and have the same exact font and everything that you want later on. But for this experiment, I'm just going to leave them blank. And I'm going to go and I'm going to just delete these guys just to leave room for them, because I don't want the page labels on another sheet because they're not going to apply, right? So I'm just going to do this first round. Now, I will try. This is an old PDF. I haven't messed with this that much. Could I go in here and edit that text and just make it empty? Yes, but then it's going to mess up my spacing over here for my other text. See that? So let's not do that. Yeah, so I'm going to hit Control Z there. So what I'm doing is just going up to Edit, PDF Content, Erase Content. I'm just erasing that text. There's a couple other ways that you could do this. Additionally, if there's anything that needs to be fixed, like that's a drafting boo-boo, this would be a spot where I might want to fix that before I start putting things into my my catalog, right? So as I'm reviewing this, it's a perfect time to do a little QC. Are the leaders touching? Is everything spelled correctly? Is there anything that is, that's kind of gross right there. Is there anything in here that is project specific or has a company name or anything into it, right? I might want to fix these things prior to saving it forever, Division 22, whatever that is, right? I'm not an MEP person. I can understand these things, but, does the spec section, will this apply to everything else? See PM01. So where's PM01? So you can see where I'm going with this. Anything that is project specific, I might not want to save to my library without cleaning up. Thank Isaac. Plumbing. All right. So like things like this detail number isn't going to do what I need it to, but that's okay. So if I wanted to start saving these to deploy on another sheet, how might I do that? Well, go back to my handy dandy snapshot tool, and I can just grab this guy And I can be a little careful there, or better yet, you don't have to use a rectangle. And I'm just going to paste that guy real quick, and then I'm going to hit delete. Here it is in my recents. All I got to do is drag that up, and let's go ahead and click on it. Now, one thing when you're manipulating your tool chest that you need to be aware of is that you still have control, even while you have it selected, of your properties. So I can come over here to my properties and give that a subject of roof drain detail, right? Or I can call it plumbing details. I can give it more information, right? That way we've got that settled. So I'm going to call that good. And now when I go back to my detail there, it already has that roof drain detail. Why is this important? Well, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this context, right? And even if I move my little Dorito thing, it's going to be hard to tell what that is. But that's okay. I can always come over here, put it in detail mode, and there we go. Now I have my actual subject called out. And as we've seen in the new update of 21.6, I can manage those columns. If I don't want to see the comment entirely, I can turn that off, and now my tool chest is even more organized. All right. I'm going to leave search in there because we might come back to that. So I'm just going to do a couple of these. I think the process is the same. I'll go back and snapshot. This time, I'm not going to choose a rectangle because I know it's going to be a little sloppy over here. So I'm just single clicking instead of clicking and holding. There's my snapshot. That one worked as well. I'll go ahead and hit delete. Oops, I did it twice. And I'll drag that up into my thing. Same thing again. We're going to call that its name, rainwater leader, nozzle outlet detail. All right, now we've got that one set up, and I'm just going to continue down this row. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm making a little bit of a mess with my pasting here. And then we'll do, wait a minute, I did that wrong, didn't I? Sure enough, I forgot my little detail. I'm going to delete that one. I need to go and do my snapshot again. I feel like I'm talking to myself today. This is weird. There we go. Now I've got that data that I was after. We'll drag that in here. Come on. Same thing again. While it's active, go change the name. And there we go. So now we're going to come over. We'll do a couple more of these. As you can tell, I need my practice. Hey. Now I'm using the G hotkey instead of pulling it down from the menu. I don't always do that, but when I'm doing repetitive work, there's always more than one way to do things in Revu. We'll paste that one again, and that one is called rainwater through foundation. Whoop. See, this is one of those things where I made a little spelling error and I went back and fixed it. If I'm spending the time to do this, spend the time to fix it. I mean, especially if I'm trying to share this with the rest of my team, you're just going to make everything work easier down the road. So same thing, dragging that up in my plumbing fixture. Whether you drag it up into your detail first or leave it in your recents while you're making that change, it doesn't really matter. I just did both of them. So I'll do one more just to give me an even number, satisfy the OCD. And here we go. So we've got this detail, which is the overflow RWC, rainwater collector, rainwater conductor. There we go. Yes, Doug. Capitalizing the second letter because your finger's a little slow to move off of shift. Happens all the time. see at front of building. This isn't something that I would particularly use for that. It's just an overflow RWC. So I'm just going to call that detail. Right. So now I have all these details. They are already set to scale. This page that I've made the changes to, I certainly don't want to copy because I've made a mess of it. Right. So usually, especially since I erased some content, the better practice to do, which I did not do, would have been save a copy of this. That way I know I'm not messing anything up. And then I can go through and create this list. Now, I can continue through the next 12 pages of these details. We don't need to do that. There are some interesting details, though, and I could probably sit here and geek out on the drafting of them. But we don't need to do that for today, right? So I've made my details, right? So my company's cheap. They don't want Pyros. They want some other way of managing things. Now I have a folder of plumbing details that I can use anywhere. So I can come over and I can go set to export and I can save them with everybody. Now, I'm getting caught up on the chat here. Question about what's the difference between snapshot and snapshot content. So let's go talk about that real quick. There is the snapshot tool, which uses G as the hotkey. Additionally, you can do Shift plus G, and that will snapshot content. The difference is that this snapshot content will exclude markups. So what do we mean by that? We're just going to use this page right here. If I make a markup, good old cloud here, I have a markup here that if I go snapshot this, so I'm just going to choose G as my hotkey. I'll grab that, and if I paste that, it included that markup that was there, right? So if I do Shift plus G, and grab that and paste it, the markup is not there. So Shift plus G will exclude any markups that are in that area. The regular snapshot tool will include markups. So you have two ways around that, right? If you didn't want to do Shift plus G, you could also hide markups, which I love to do. Right click on them, choose hide. You'll get that nice orange thing in the side reminding you that you have hidden things. Same thing, do your snapshot, paste it. Even if it's hidden, it will not appear. The faster workflow would probably be to hide it, but that is what it is, right? But that snapshot with content doesn't really appear on, oh, there it is. So there's snapshot here and then snapshot content. So the difference is markups and not. Interesting. I got different icons too. And all right. So looks like there's been some tricks there learned by the folks joining live, and that's always fun, right? That's the beauty of what we do here and having the community, whether you're using the Bluebeam community pages, joining MCR, or seeing our chat. It's all about learning and sharing tricks with one another. See you guys later. So yeah, I definitely want to talk about Pyros more in the future once you get that up and running, because if it's a solution that's making a difference for the AEC world, then we want to talk about it here. All right. So if I had other markups, now I mentioned earlier, if I were using these details, maybe I wanted to put in a form field here and include that. And you know what? Maybe we'll do that. Let's just try it and see what happens. I'll go back to my other detail sheet here. Backflow preventer. Oh, this is a good one. So I'm going to go ahead and use my PDF erase content again. And I'm going to remove that font, that text there. I'm going to replace that with a form field. So we'll come over to the forms panel and I'll place a text box. There we go. It's a little slow to pick up. We'll drop one there. See if I can get that to fit in just right. And this is where I should have been a little tricky with my font size. But we can say field will be visible, orientation, text, Helvetica 12. We'll start there. And I'll hit escape. So now if I click in there, I hit 3, for example. How does that match my other ones? Not very well. I'm actually going to come here. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put this up here so I can see how close it looks. All right, so that tells me my form field is too big. I got the wrong font. Well, it's kind of hard to change. You have to go back to your forms panel to get those options. So my font size is probably 12, maybe even smaller. Try that. Helvetica is not it. Oh boy. I'm going to do good old Arial. That didn't change much, did it? It doesn't need to be bold. We'll leave that pretty close. And then I'm going to go ahead and center that the best that I can. I can use the alignment tools if I wanted to. And then same thing, I'm going to create another form field for my page number. This one's going to be a little worse. Same thing, make that 10. I would probably want that to be a narrower font. Arial narrow. There we go. So that way if I wanted to experiment, P502, it doesn't look half bad. Now, I talked about doing things with precision because I know I want to reuse things. And I'm actually going to go back and fix this guy too to make that Arial narrow because that looks pretty darn close to me. Arial narrow. There we go. Scoot that over, and I'm going to fine tune it just one more time. We're going to call that close enough. Now, I want to just call this detail number and page number, right? Where I have the opportunity to add more detail that will save somebody hassle down the road, that's how I'm going to take my approach to this, right? So now my detail looks good. I'm going to go remove that text, but I want to keep those form fields because we're going to experiment here. This guy can go away. Will this even work? I do not know. We are all going to experiment together. I should be taking bets here. So let's go see. Boom. I'm going to snapshot this. Same thing. Go back to my tool chest. I will paste you. Paste you. Oh boy. Here we go again. So I have a bug inside of Revu. This has happened a few times since I've updated to 26.1. You can see what that bug is. I think I've done it here on MCR before too. I should probably go report this. So whenever I'm using the snapshot tool, right, I come up to, whoops, I just hit print. Come up here to edit, snapshot, and I do my snapshot. It does the little flashy thing, and it gives me my blue rectangle, and it leaves me in the tool. It doesn't actually do the snapshot. All right, so if I hit paste, that one actually did go through. That was weird. It sort of hangs on itself. Sometimes I have to restart Revu. Because normally when you do a snapshot, it does the little flashy thing, the blue, and then it all goes away. This time I had to hit escape. But I don't know if that did what I wanted it to. Oops. See? You shouldn't have to hit escape after that. So I don't know if I'm getting the full functionality here to do my test. Because we saw a little bit ago, I'm going to go snapshot something else just to get this out of my clipboard. There we go. So earlier when I did that snapshot that had the markup in it, it grabbed it when I did the snapshot. right? So now I have markups in there, technically my forms, and the form did not go with the snapshot. Interesting. Okay. Well, that solves that. So those forms were all, is a form a markup? I mean, it kind of is, kind of isn't. I would say, I mean, you're adding something to the file. I'm going to say drawing. It doesn't appear in the markup menu, but it's a tool. I don't know. Yeah, let's try it with snapshot content. So this time I'll do the drop-down menu. PDF content. Boom. No form field. Bummer. Let's go check our form fields. Make sure we didn't get copies. Okay. Since the snapshot is really on the clipboard, wouldn't expect anything dynamic. Sometimes we should try that again. Let's do that again. Because we did the little cloud markup earlier, right? And then we snapshotted that thing. See, my G hotkey's not even working anymore. Snapshot, boom, 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 boom. There we go. Is that dynamic? No, that markup is not dynamic. Okay. All right. Let's go back to my tool chest. Let's just fix this. There we go. What if it were just a text box? Okay, let's try that. Well, after all, we're trying to make the perfect detail toolbox here. So let's go back. I'm going to go ahead and kill those form fields. Boop, doop, delete. Delete. Would a text box work there instead? I'm going to say no. So it's there technically. You'd never find it though. That's what I worry about. Would the user know that there's a text box there? Whoa, why'd that turn? That was weird. Because if I left it as a 3 and snapshotted it, that will stay. But if I snapshot it now, I don't think this is going to do what I want it to. No, that's not how that tool works. Okay. This is where you could... My brain's thinking there's some way of pulling that metadata out of that snapshot name and having it read that, so you could insert that detail, or this little detail bubble call out line. Wouldn't that be fun? All right. Well, we'll stop experimenting here for a minute. Let's go back to what we wanted to get to. So I've got my plumbing fixture details. They are all set up. Now, one thing that we did earlier was we set the drawing to scale. We can make these set to scale as well, preset to 1/8 inch, which means whenever I insert them, they should come out the same size, even if I'm on a different page. So let's go one step further. My goal was to create some ways to manage details without getting into Revit, without getting into CAD, because especially if these details don't change very often, I'm just going to change a detail number and some text. So this is where I might want to create a template, right? So I'm going to actually clean up the rest of this page. Again, you should always do a save as, and don't wreck a real project with this. But I'm going to take this title block and turn it into a template. So I'm just going to wipe out everything I don't want to see. Right? I should go in and create line work and fix all this stuff and erase it and make these into actual form fields. But we don't have time for that today. Actually, you know what? Let's do something a little fun here. I'm going to go ahead and drop in my add my ATG logo. There we go. And now I can go in and turn this into a template. So if I wanted to do that, file, save as template. So it's going to grab that whole project. That's what I don't want to do. In a real world scenario, do I want to do that today? Sure. I'm going to save as. We're going to call this title block template MCR. This is where I'm going to make a mess of things. I've got all these pages that I don't want. Go to my thumbnails and just start hacking away. I've got way too many sheets in this drawing for this exercise, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway. Delete, and we're cleaning, trying to get down to one page here. A couple more clicks and we'll be there. There we go. So I've got my one page. I'm going to save as a template. So now I have my title block template for MCR. I should call that for details, right? I'm going to close that. So, hey, I need to create a plumbing detail sheet. I'm going to come over here, File, New PDF from Template, Title block template MCR. Boom, there we go. Open up my tool chest and start slapping details on there. Pretty darn slick. And I could, of course, use my alignment tools. I could do things a lot cleaner here. But the goal was to see what we can do with these. So now that they're in here, they've been inserted from my tool chest here. I can go align them. So you can see those alignment marks. Additionally, there are alignment tools here where you can center and document and everything else. But I'm just going to use the defaults because they look pretty good. And then this is where, even though this is a snapshot, ideally I would want to have, line work, but I can still do things on top of it, right? So this is where I could use my text box and I could go in here and place those text boxes. Now, what if we did another little trick? So I'm actually going to come over here and create my text box again. And I'm going to configure that. So what did we say? We wanted 10 font and we wanted Arial narrow. There we go. And I'm going to take that guy. I'm going to copy that down, right? Because it already has the property set for Arial narrow. I'll make that a little bigger. And now I should have two text boxes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold down the Shift key to select both things at once, not Control like some other programs would do. And I'm actually going to group these guys. Group. And now I have a text box that has all my numbers in it, right? So let's actually fix that again. I kind of broke that. Hey, come here. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. There we go. I did something in my editing that I didn't want to do. Now these are grouped. I want these to be black. That's what I did wrong. And I'm going to erase that text. Now I have this group here that I want to fix. I kind of goofed that up when I made that text box too big. Okay, let's fix that real quick. I have a vision in my head of all this actually going to plan. So let's see if we can get there. All right, so I've got my two text boxes. I'm going to bring that up There we go. These should work. We'll assume the alignment's perfect. That's where we wanted extra page. Move that. Perfect. Move that. Perfect. Close enough. Grab both of those again. We're going to delete the content. Delete the content. And now I'm going to group these guys. And I'm going to grab this and I'm going to put this group into, oh no. Nope. That didn't do what I wanted it to. Hold down Shift. There we go. Group them. The goal is to put this group in that detail box so I already have pre-configured text that I can put everywhere I want. Right? So I'm going to go add to tool chest, plumbing fixture details, text box. So we're going to call this detail bubble text. All right, there we go. So now I should be able to, Bluebeam's bugging on me again. If I want to go add the text for this guy, I can just grab it, drop it right there. There's probably a better way to do this. 2. P123. Right? And then I can do the next one. Detail bubble text. Click once, drop it there, fill it out. So a form field would work a little better, but it's not going to work the same way with the tool chest. Either way, I've got the information that I need from here. It's coming into scale. Let's go ahead and export that. Do I want to save it? Yes, I do. Save it to my company server. Put it wherever I want. I've got my plumbing fixture details. Those are now ready to save with anybody. And we have our company standard detail, all managed, all pretty logical, pretty easy to get to, and we're staying away from CAD. Now, what's the downside of this method that I showed you? I've done a snapshot view, and snapshot is just grabbing that vector content. If I want to fix this leader, I can't. If I want to, make some other changes to this, like, maybe that's not sealant, maybe it's grout, I can't really change that text. I would need to remove that content and then put a new text box in there. Not the most efficient way. I should be using, CAD or Revit for that instead. Will this work in a pinch? Absolutely. If you have a job or a project where you don't need to have customized details, this workflow is pretty darn slick because everything's organized and quick to get to. Same thing, I could go back to any document that has other details in it. Let's see what this one's got. Oh boy. So same thing, I could go grab these details, add a different scale, organize them accordingly, do the same thing, remove that detail number, and have it be organized into its own tool set that would have that, door head details or window details. I could have all those organized, shared throughout, always go through, make sure the spelling's right, things are right. These arrowheads are a little too small for me, but that's okay. A true muntin. It's an underused word in my vocabulary. Go through, clean them up, organize them, share them. Is this better than the other solutions that we talked about today, like Pyros and Content Catalog? Probably not. Will this work for a lot of firms? Absolutely. So, curious to know what you guys got going on here and getting caught up with the chat. That's a good one, Kenneth. What about making a detail bubble and doing a sequence? Okay. We got a couple minutes here. Let's see if your boy remembers how to do a sequence. It's been a while, right? So there are tools in that we can do for counting that will allow a sequence, and we can create them pretty easily. One way that I always do it is by cheating. There is a sequence built into one of these guys, right? And we can also create a sequence out of here. Will this work? Let's try it. So let's go back. I created a detail bubble text markup, which contains two text boxes which are grouped together, right? Will this work if I sequence them? So let's try it. If I go right click on my text, go to sequence, define, I have 1, 2, 3, Roman numerals, ABC. Let's go 1, 2, 3. No prefix, no suffix. It will start with 1, increment of 1, reset sequence per document, renumber when markups are deleted, correct, and we'll hit OK. So now, oh man, Kenneth, you might be onto something. Let's see what we got. I'm going to hit escape here. Is this my group? It is my group. But it's not showing the right location, right? That group still gives me that 2 pieces of text. Okay. I think I got a way around this. I'm going to try it. So I've deleted these sequences. That way, when I restart that, it should be good again. So let's go insert you here, right? Even though this group is wrong, I'm going to come here. See if it'll let me. Nope. I'm getting click happy today. Just put that down here. I'm going to do, I can't ungroup that anymore. Interesting. So maybe what I would want to do, let's get rid of this entirely. Delete. Trust me, there's a method to my madness here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to create a text box. And I'm going to hold down Control so it's not trying to snap to anything. And we're going to make that font black, size 10, Arial narrow. And you can see where I'm going with this. This is going to be detail bubble text. There we go. And we're going to add that to our tool chest. And now I'm going to create a sequence. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now, whenever I use this tool, it's going to be the right font, the right color, the right size. I'm going to skip that one. I should have deleted those first. Let's go over here, pretend it's not there. I can grab that. I can grab this one. So they are in sequence. They are all the same font. That would save me some clicks. Good idea, Kenneth. Where might this backfire is, actually, no. Let's go back. If I did this guy for sequence, I mean, I can spell, I swear. It's already a sequence because you can see the logo, but then from here, I might want to make another one for page number, which wouldn't be sequenced, right? So same thing, make your little text box a little bigger, hold down Control again, make that black, size 10, Arial narrow. Now I could have copied the other one. Detail bubble sheet number. And this is one where you might go through and put it in once. Oops. I keep trying to drag. I'm just click happy today. Add a tool chest, plumbing fixture details. There we go. So now when I want to go insert that, drop it in, click once, move it to the right spot. P1, 2, 3. I still have to manipulate it because I don't know how many sheets I'm going to have, but it'll work. And now I can take that same one that I just did in my recent tools and start dragging that guy everywhere. Right? Is it perfectly centered? No. Is there a better way to do this? Of course. Could I just do the whole bubble as a markup and just use a circle with form fields? That would work pretty well too, but I'm trying to reuse some of that content for consistency. The proper way to do it would probably be to recreate this whole title, but that's up to you. And to do that would be pretty straightforward. Create your circle. Again, if you don't know how to make a circle in Revu, because they don't give you a circle tool, they only give you an ellipse tool, you hold down the Shift key. Shift key will make you a circle that will go from the corner, right? However, if you use the Alt key, it will make you a circle that goes from the middle. So kind of hidden circle tricks here in Revu. You could easily come over here and easily manipulate this guy. Give me my little move thing. Make it the same size, snap to content. You know, you could get your circles just right. Redo this whole thing with Revu line work, and then that would make it easier to shorten up this little tail and have your font in there. Do your form fields. That would work equally well, but a couple ways. As always, more than one way to do things inside of Revu. So with that said, that's about going to wrap up where we are today. Thanks for joining me solo. Next week, you will have Michael solo. I forget exactly what the topic he was going to talk about next week, but I'm hoping that he has something exciting to share from the channel forum. Be sure to ask him, remind him. In the meantime, your homework for this week, go check out the Bluebeam community pages. See if you can answer a question. Maybe you've got a question yourself that you want answered. Go ahead and put it in there, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining me.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.